It's a big question. Are Apple devices or Microsoft Windows devices better for businesses? Well, that's the topic for today's video. But before we start, a quick introduction. My name is Jonathan Edwards and I'm a business IT consultant from Yorkshire in the UK. We help businesses with their IT support and their cyber security. Now, if you get any value from this video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Now, back in the day, Apple was always geared towards the home consumer market. When it came to business, it was always Microsoft Windows that seemed to be the standard. Now, that started to change a little bit, and we saw lots of businesses using Apple devices. But these businesses were usually creative, people like web designers or graphic designers. They never really came into the corporate workplace. But is all that starting to change? Now, when it comes to stats, the world of business is still dominated by Microsoft Windows devices, who claim a 90% share of the market. But in this video, we're going to look at the 6 key factors that you should consider when choosing Microsoft Windows or Apple for your business. Now, the first topic that I want to consider is the quality of the devices, the quality of the design. Now, people love the design of Apple products. That is a really big pull. When it comes to Apple products, Apple are in complete control of the design of all the hardware and all the software. So they're responsible for the entire unit and they make exceptional products. When it comes to Windows devices, obviously Microsoft have the Surface range, but they also sell their operating system software to companies like Dell, HP and Lenovo. If we look at this Apple Mac Air laptop, this was the cheapest Apple laptop I could find, and it's still a really good laptop. The thing is, Apple just don't make cheap products. Everything they do is of a very, very high standard, and it would last you for many years. On the opposite side of this is the cheapest Windows laptop I could find. And it really is cheap. It would be very plasticky, it wouldn't be of a good standard, and it wouldn't last you very long. There's not a lot of good hardware components inside of it. But if we are comparing like for like, the opposite of the Apple Mac Air laptop that I showed you is one of these. This is a Dell XPS laptop. It's about £900 and it's a great standard Windows laptop. So comparably, they're very, very similar. I think the problem people have is that they expect to spend around £400–500 on a Windows laptop and expect it to be the same standard as an Apple device. And it's just not going to happen. Any good quality device for your business, whether it's Apple or Windows, you're looking at about £900–1,000. Now, the second key factor that I want to talk about when choosing Apple or Windows for your business is a really important one, and it's security. Now, this is a really interesting one because there's a bit of a misconception around, and that is that Apple devices are secure and Windows devices aren't. Some people don't even bother to install antivirus software on their Apple devices because they're so confident in the security of the software. If this is something that you believe, then let's look at the State of Malware report issued by Malwarebytes in 2020. It read that threats to Apple software rose by over 400% from 2018 to 2019, and that threats to Apple outpaced threats to Windows by 2 to 1. Now, the argument might rage on, but one thing is for sure. Don't buy Apple products for your business because you think they're secure and Windows devices aren't. That's the kind of attitude that might get you into trouble. Just because you buy an Apple device, you have to invest time and money into your business IT security. The next thing to consider is the collaboration software that you use in your business. Now, when it comes to collaboration software, it's usually a choice between the big two. Now, the big two in this case isn't Microsoft versus Apple. It's Microsoft 365 or Google Suite. Now, do you use Microsoft 365 as your collaboration software? And the question is, does Microsoft 365 work on Apple devices? And the answer is yes. You can get all your Microsoft applications, that's things like Outlook, Word, Excel. You can install all of those on an Apple device. But my opinion is, if you're choosing Microsoft 365 as your business collaboration software, then you should choose Microsoft Windows devices as your software, as your operating system. Because 365 and Windows are just designed to work together. It's from the same people. In my experience, people who do use Apple devices usually opt for Google Suite, and they access their email, the files, the folders, all over a web browser. Now that takes me on to the next factor to consider, and that is your business applications. What applications does your business use? And are those applications compatible with Windows? Are they compatible with Mac? Now, my IT company looks after a lot of accountancies and a lot of law firms. Now, it wouldn't be possible for either of these two industries to really go with Apple devices, especially accountancies. Accountancies use software like Sage Accounts. That just won't work on an Apple Mac computer. If an accountant wanted an Apple Mac computer, we'd have to then put Sage in some kind of Windows virtual desktop, and all they'd be using the Apple Mac computer for would be to connect to a Windows server somewhere. That would be a complete waste of time and a complete waste of money. Or perhaps all the applications that your business uses are all 100% software as a service. That means you access it over a web browser. So you might use Google Suite for your email and your files. You might use Xero for your accounting system. In that case, it doesn't matter if you go with a Windows device or an Apple device. But you've got to consider your applications, both the applications you're using today and maybe in the future as well, because that has a big bearing on whether to choose Apple or Microsoft. Now, the next factor to consider is quite close to my heart. If you want to scale your business, or your business is a reasonable size already, you've got to consider IT support. Now, because Microsoft Windows dominates the business landscape, most IT support companies are geared more towards supporting Windows devices. Finding experienced specialist Apple people is harder to come by. Now, when it comes to hardware, it's usually Apple technicians themselves that repair Apple devices, whereas your local IT company can upgrade your Windows devices. Your Dell, HP, Lenovo, they can install new parts on those devices on your behalf. So supporting your software and your hardware in your business has to be a consideration, and I think it's easier with Windows devices because there's more people who can help you. The final factor to consider is training. Who in your business knows how to use an Apple device? Who in your business knows how to use a Windows device? Because Windows dominates the business landscape, most people are proficient at using it, whereas not so many people are proficient at using Apple devices. We've had it so many times where a CEO of a business has rolled out Apple devices simply because they prefer them. They've not really given a second thought to anyone else in the business. If you run a business and you're recruiting people and they know how to use Windows devices, then you've really got to consider using Windows devices in your business. So that's it, there's the key factors. But I've just got one more tip, and this is my recommendation. Whatever you do, choose either Windows or Apple as your devices and stick with it. Don't mix and match. We've had it so many times where businesses have approached us and they've said, well, we've got 30 Windows devices and 10 Apple Macs. That just confuses everything. Training, standardization, security, it makes everything a little bit more hard work. So choose one and stick with it. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you got value from it. I look forward to seeing you again soon.